strength. These are the qualities that the Slayer must possess to do her job.
What came after agility?
If you wanted to attack the dummy...
No. Philip will attack the dummy. The Slayer's job is to protect it. Do you understand?
Protect the dummy?
As if it were precious. Now, getting the best of Philip will require agility. Listening to my instructions at the same time, that will demonstrate clarity, and stamina and strength will win the long fight. Good luck.
Instructions?
Yeah, I'll be telling you what to do, how to counter Philip's thrusts. We assume you're familiar with the Japanese names for Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu moves.
Japanese?
And go.
Whoa, hold on a second. We in America, we usually just work our way up to go.
Shomenide.
Huh?
He wants you to bow. Take a bow.
Oh.
Shomenzuki.
Punch him.
Thanks, Giles.
Sorry.
Ushiro Geri Empiuchi.
Back kick. Elbow. Elbow strike.
How have you been training her?
I've trained her to win.
You know what? I'm gonna have to do it my way, guys.
Broke my rib.
Yes, well.
I didn't mean to. I can do better. I think I might be getting this, inner ear thing, and so maybe if I got a note, I could try again.
No, it's all right. I don't think we need to see any more physical tests for a while. We can move on to the real review. Look into your strategies, plans. Figure out what's going on in that head.
Good. Head stuff.
We start at 7 tonight. Give you time to, however you prepare.
Giles, the most lovable and respectable man who was Buffy's watcher. I enjoyed watching Buffy, and I'm sure you did too, and I enjoyed watching Giles support Buffy as well. But I feel as though he could have done more. I expected a bit more from him. For example, how is he supporting Buffy when he has no idea how to fight? There was one episode where he mentally reverted back to his teenage self, where he was rebellious and brawling in the streets. And Buffy's mom, Miss Summers, she was excited, and her and Giles had an exciting time behind his car. And when I saw that, I realized, oh, okay, Giles is a fighter. He be brawling. Okay, Giles. I was cheering him on. It was a hilarious, exciting episode. But then I realized throughout the seasons, he wasn't, he'll fight, but, he can handle himself. But if he had to handle himself in a situation where he's being overthrown by vampires, ghouls, or whatever, because Buffy was definitely not all about vampires, I'm sure you could agree with me that Buffy was definitely it made me think of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Or Goosebumps, where you have all these ghosts and ghoulies coming out and she handles everybody, not just vampires. For example, right, if we got boxers out there, the person training the boxers, either they've been a boxer, I believe, or they at least know the techniques and help them be a better boxer. So how is Giles able to make Buffy a better fighter when he can't fight? I really, come on, for real though. I can't be the only one who thinks that. I did bring it up to a friend of mine, and she loves Giles. She was like, how dare you? Giles don't need to fight. But how are you training her when you can't fight? How does that make any sense? There's episodes where he fights and he's giving a good fight. And then there's some episodes where he's being taken back and he ain't got no control of fighting. I don't know. Let me know if I'm being crazy or not. With the Watchers in general, because it wasn't just Giles, it was Wesley too. Why do the Watchers not know some form of martial arts? This way they can defend themselves, help others, and better support Buffy, where everything is not on Buffy. A lot of the episodes, I feel like with Buffy, because people didn't know how to develop themselves, refine themselves, be able to fight back, do something, right? Everything landed on Buffy. And I'll do an episode on that because they were running Buffy ragged. Like, for example, Buffy, she passed away and they pulled her back on Earth to deal with hell all over again. I feel as though she had the weight of the world on her shoulders. And I feel as though Giles didn't make that any better. So it actually started to make me really upset. And I felt some kind of way when people are like, oh, well, Buffy, what are you going to do now? But back to the martial arts. Why don't the Watchers have some form of technique of fighting? I just feel like they're just an organization, an unorganized organization, aka the council, having control over the Slayers and not having a way to protect them and support them. How are you really supporting them by not supporting them? You know what I'm saying? And I let me break it down in case anyone is like, what do you mean? So Giles give assignments, right? Like, oh, on behalf of the council, you have to do this, yada, yada, yada. And I'm your watcher. I watch over you and make sure you're being guided, right? But when she's in fights, how is she being supported when he's there? Like, either way, it always worked out. But Buffy had to make sure nobody was getting clipped from the show. They're the Scooby Gang and they made it work. But I really do think like they could have supported her a lot better. And I'm sure some of you can agree, especially if you've seen down to the last season and finished the actual show. And I do have a comment on that about Buffy at the ending. It really felt as if it was just one of the shenanigans that happened. Like, holy crap, this crazy situation happened. And now their whole town is in a hole now. Well, what do we do next? All right, we driving on the road. Like, it felt like it was like more could have happened because even my husband looked and he's like, that's it. I said, yeah, that's it. So there were a few episodes where the Watchers had a rule where the Slayer becomes a certain age and the Watcher injects the Slayer with some type of serum that makes her lose her powers and her strength. So she just becomes a complete average person. Now, once she has her powers gone, the Slayer is supposed to fight this old vampire that's a felon and survive. Buffy felt so violated when she found this out because Giles ended up just telling her the whole situation. He felt super guilty on even doing this because he injected her with the serum without her knowledge. The council was like, how could you? You broke the rules. You're fired. Giles also lost Buffy's trust in that situation as well. I mean, she eventually got over it, but she's like, that was BS. And I agree. How dare you put her life in danger where she's always saving everybody? And the fact that she has her powers is the reason why she's able to do what she does. This makes her the Slayer. And I think with the council, they just had old, dumb, stupid, outdated rules. You mean to tell me the Slayer survives all these missions with these vampires, does what the council says, and the council says, let's test her survival skills? I used to think that maybe they had a tip-top security. Like, you've been around all this time. I'm sure you don't have Slayers just out there protecting your whole organization. Man, when they got blown up, that was ridiculous. I expected their setup to be like the Wolfram Heart. Like, they just got the state of the arts. You know what I mean? Y'all fight evil, apparently. So why wouldn't you make sure that your organization is protected from all the evils that's out there? So once Buffy had stopped dealing with the council, especially after they just fired Giles and had Wesley as the initial watcher until he lost control of Faith and that whole thing happened. I'm not going to like rehash it, but oh my goodness. I spoke about that in the last video. You can check it out if you want to. But after Faith was out of the picture and Wesley lost his job in the last video, Buffy was saying like, no more of this. I'm done. Goodbye, Watchers Council. So actually, they were very useless. I'm like, other than barking orders, like, oh, you have to do this and you That's all they were good for. Now, after the Watchers Council got blown to smithereens, there was a scene where Giles had to defend himself, and I thought, oh snap, Giles is out of here. Because Giles ain't no fighter, not for real, for real. So I thought Giles was gone. They probably took over Giles' body. This was like within the last season, I believe. But somehow in that scene, when they actually revealed the rest of the scene, like late in the later episodes, yeah, now he's this action hero stopping the axe and boom, boom, bang. I'm like, okay, Giles, whatever. But when Buffy went off to college, though, and Giles started to try to find a way to live his life, to do what he wanted to do, I was rooting for him and his little lady friend. I'm like, okay, Giles, you went to the Cocoa Brown, go ahead with your bad self. But I loved him and Miss Calendar. I'm like, oh, Miss Calendar. Oh, when they clipped her off the show, when Angel took her, I'm like, no, Angel, how could you do this to us? He really loved Miss Calendar. And I really wanted him to get some. I'm not going to lie. After watching Buffy, or remembering Buffy for what it was when you did watch it, what did you think of the Watchers and the Watchers Council? Did you think they were completely useless? Did you think that they had some type of usefulness, especially when it came to Buffy? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Sad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes. No one knows what it's like to be hated, to be fated.
Could we go back to the haunted house? Because this is creeping me out.
Does he do this a lot?
Sure.
But my dream
Every day the earth rotates backward and the skies turn orange.